All right, good afternoon. Thank y'all for being here. Big win on the road versus number 24 Kansas State. Been a difficult years, and we've been close a couple different times now, a couple missed opportunities. So to have a breakthrough was big, and proud of our staff, proud of our players for finally getting it done on Saturday. Huge weekend for West Virginia athletics. Coach Huggins and men's basketball, big win over Pitt, and then win last night. Men's soccer wins the conference championship. Nikki and her girls women's soccer in the NCAA, winning the first round. So congrats to those teams. Quick recap on our game. Start with special teams. The negatives first. We missed field goal at the end of the half. That was big. I thought that was a great drive offensively. We missed that one. And I think we got to do a better job on our field goal block unit. We really had a chance to affect a field goal there before the half, the one they made, and we didn't get that done. Positives outweigh the negatives, though. We won the field position battle. I thought we won the head-to-head in special teams. They had 0 punt return yards. Our kickoff coverage has been very good all year, and it continued on Saturday. And then the 51-yard field goal by Casey Legg obviously changed the whole last drive for Kansas State. They had to score a touchdown rather than have the opportunity to kick a field goal to win. And then the pooch punt that Josh had to set that last drive. They had to go 92 yards in that last drive. So great job by him. Defensively, the negatives, poor start. It's really 2 weeks in a row. Several big missed opportunities. We had 2 opportunities where balls hit us right in the chest on interceptions that really would have stretched that lead out. We had several sacks and tackles for a loss against Skylar Thompson that we let him get out. And part of that is he's a good player. But we did have some missed opportunities. And then we weren't good enough on third down, especially some 9+ opportunities to get off the field we did not take advantage of. And then we've got to get better at our eye discipline and man coverage. And it's more of our inside players than our corners. The positives are we had 2 huge takeaways. The pick there for Hakeem Bailey to end the game. And really excited for him just because he's been a guy that's really done everything we've asked. He's balled in. He's been fully balled in really going back to January. And for him to make that play, really excited for him. We limited them to 3.2 yards per carry. They're a team that really wants to run the ball. That's who they are. We made them pass the ball 39 attempts. That's not what they want to do. And then we limited their big plays after that early touchdown. And I thought second half, outside the first drive, we played really well. Offensively, the biggest negative were the penalties. We had 6 penalties offensively. 2 of them, what I would deem selfish penalties that happened inside our own 30-yard line that backed us up and took away scoring opportunities. And we didn't take advantage of Norwood's interception. It was a tremendous play by him, and we weren't able to take advantage of that because one of those selfish penalties. And then we had too many negative yardage plays. Some of that's, again, because they're pretty good up front. But we had too many of those. Positives are 0 turnovers, touchdowns in the red zone, had 3 huge touchdown completions on third down. They were, I think, third in the entire country in third down defense coming in, so those were big. Then we had several explosive plays. We won the explosive play battle going away. Some awards, y'all probably don't remember because it's been so long since we won, but we do give out awards when we win. So starting with special teams, I think we released these on special team or yesterday. Just kind of give you some background, or we released these on social media maybe yesterday, but to give you some background on why these guys won the awards. Special teams player of the week is Josh Groudon, 51 and a half yards, net punt average, the pooch at the end of the game, and then he had a critical hold. This doesn't get talked about much, but if you go back and look at Casey Legg's 51-yard field goal, he made a tremendous hold. The snap was a little high, and he got it down. So he was our special teams award winner. Defensively, Sean Mahone, and he's played 3 consecutive games at a high level. In this game, he's our leading tackler. He had 9 tackles. He had a sack and 2 tackles for a loss. So I think he's playing the best football of his career. Offensively, George Campbell, and I'll say this about George. George has made as much improvement at the receiver position from July until now of anybody I've ever coached, and been doing it, coaching that position in particular for a long time. And can't say enough about him and what he's added to our program. But he had 5 receptions, really 2 games in a row where he's just been just under 100 yards. But he had 5 receptions, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, both on third downs. And he had a tremendous play. Doesn't have anything to do with offense, but he had a tremendous play on punt where he flew down and got the tackle on punt. Our O-lineman of the week, Mike Brown, played every snap. By far his most productive game of his career. 94% on getting his job done, had 3 or 4 knockdowns, but he was our offensive lineman of the week. And then our scout team players of the week, and these are important, and this is kind of a culmination of maybe over the last 5-6 weeks. On special teams, Naeem Muhammad has done a great job, and he'll have a chance maybe to be in the mix a little bit on some special teams this week. On defense, Alonzo Adai, and guy that we're excited about. He's sitting out this year do the transfer, but he's done a great job for us. And on offense, Grayson Malashevitz from Spring Valley, done a really good job for us. He's redshirting this year, but he'll be a factor for us down the road. Like how he plays, got great hands, can definitely help us on special teams. We'll play receiver here too. So, and then finish up the awards. Our juice guy, best guy on the sideline, and our guys have been consistently pretty good at this. So I'm glad that we get to talk about it for a while. But Blaine Scott is our juice guy of the week. He brought it on Saturday. And then community service. Our guys have done a ton of community service. We don't really publicize that because I don't think that's why you do it. But Adam Hensley has done tremendous all semester. And so he won our service award for this week. So those are our award winners. But much needed win, and a win that I thought that was our most complimentary game of football we've played all year, where all 3 phases really had a hand in it. So turn the page to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State 7-3 overall, tied for second in the Big 12, I believe. They've won 3 consecutive games. They're playing their best football of the year. And Coach Gundy has really built a very consistent program. I think one of the top programs in the Big 12 over the last 10 years, averaged 9+ wins a year going back to 2010. So the consistency that he's built in that program is what we're working for every day here, trying to build. Kind of preview them special teams wise. Coach Gundy's always had very good special teams units. They've always had really good specialists, and that's no different this year. Their top wide receiver, Stoner, is their punt returner. He's a threat. And then they've been very good on both their coverage units, their punt and their kickoff. Their punt team is very similar to ours. Defensively, they've played very well during this 3-game stretch, 3-game winning streak they're on. Been very good against the run the last 3 games in particular, the 3 down front. They've had 13 sacks the last 4 games. They're young on defense. Only start 1 senior. I think they're playing anywhere from 6 to 8 freshmen and sophomores on that side of the ball, and some of those guys are really talented. Been successful with pressure, especially here of late. Linebackers, number 11, number 20, both those guys run really well. That's part of the reason why they're playing the run so well here in the last 3 games. They've got a defensive end who's a freshman, number 94. He started really come on. He's really talented. I'm sure those guys are excited about him. And they've got where their veterans are at corner. Those corners have played a lot of football. They're long. They're physical. We'll have to be ready for those guys. And they got a safety that's maybe playing as good as anybody in the country right now at that position. I mean, look at his production over the last 4 games. He's around the ball all the time. That's Harvell Peel. And so they're playing their best football of the year here on defense coming in to it, and I think that's been a big reason why they've won those 3 games in a row. Offensively, top 10 offense in total offense. I think they're number 8 in scoring offense. And really, they've been consistently really good on offense going back to probably since Coach Gundy's been the head coach. Definitely since I started paying attention to him probably around 2007 or so. All starts offensively with Chuba Hubbard. I saw where Coach Gundy talked about him should be in the Heisman candidates, getting the invite to New York. I see no reason why not. He leads the nation in rushing. He's the complete package. He runs for power. He runs for speed. He's been incredibly durable. And he just wears you out. He wears you out. And so I'm in agreement with Coach Gundy that he's definitely deserving of being in the Heisman Trophy race for sure. I hope, and I wish him luck, just not luck on Saturday, and then I hope he goes straight to the NFL. So, but he's a heck of a player. The quarterback, Spencer Sanders, is a redshirt freshman, really athletic. He's done a great job leading their offense. They're one of the, I think they, and Mike, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think they lead the entire country in explosive plays. And he's a big reason why because of that, because you have to defend the entire field. He's got great speed. He's got a quick release. He can throw the deep ball. They've got a couple receivers that can really run. I think Dylan Stoner's their best one, but they've got a couple other guys, Wall, Johnson, some of those guys, or Wolf, those guys can really run. And and their offensive line is finally healthy. They've kind of been in and out with different lineups, but I think they're completely healthy coming into our game. So it's going to be a test for us. Maybe as difficult a task as we've had all year offensively. Final home game, senior day for 22 guys, and special day for them and their families. And so we need to redeem ourselves without a question. Last time we were in that stadium for a game, and we did not perform very well. So we owe it to our fans to be ready to play and put a better product on the field. So I hope everybody turns out and supports this team coming off a big win. And at the last home game, won't be back there until September. So with that, open up for questions.
Neal, any update on Josh Norwood?
Yeah, Josh had surgery this morning, and he'll be out the rest of the year. So he had surgery on a collarbone. So should be he'll be completely healed by some point in December, mid-December maybe, but he'll be out for these last couple games.
Neal, you mentioned senior day. Tough group. I mean, when you're coming in as a new coach, you've known these guys 11 months. Just your thoughts as you see them go out.
Yeah, and I think that senior day is always kind of a tough deal. I think that I'll probably get into the seniors maybe more next week on our final regular season game. But this senior class has been extremely resilient. The thing that we are extremely young, I think, some of our struggles have been because of that. The thing that I really appreciate about this group is a lot of these guys are playing their best football of their career. Colt McKivitz, Akeem Bailey, Keith Washington, Josh Norwood, those guys, and that's just right off the top of my head. Those are guys who are playing really their best football of their career, and they've been invested in, which I appreciate.
You mentioned George Campbell, what he's done for this team so far, just being one of the older guys in that group. There's a lot of young guys in that. How much has he meant off the field versus all the good that he's done?
Calming influence for sure. If you go back, and I told our receiver group this the other day. If you go back and you can go back and look at some of the things I said in the spring, or if you can go back and just look at some of the stuff that you all got to watch in the spring, think about how far we've come at that position. You know what I mean? Like, we've come a long way. I mean, we're starting to play really quality football there. They're playing better away from the ball, and that's a credit to Xavier Dye. He's done a great job with that group. But also George Campbell's been a really strong, calming influence. And, his kind of evolution here during the season, it's kind of mirrored that whole entire room. Really gone from a weakness to a strength. And so he's been great. I think I said this. You look at the grad transfers that we took, is they've not only been really, really productive for us on the field, but they've been huge assets in the locker room.
You mentioned, I think, Troy going over to on grad transfer. Has Campbell's evolution sort of restored your faith in one-year guys versus
and so Campbell, Groudon, Reuben Jones, all those guys are one-year guys. I think what you do is you go back and you evaluate. I don't necessarily know if it was about those individuals at Troy. I think it was more about decisions. I need to make a better decision. So when I evaluated what our needs were in the summer and how we could address those through the grad transfer pool, really went with familiarity, all right? And I wanted people, and I think I talked about this maybe early, is I wanted thoughts on these guys from people that there's no doubt that I trusted, firsthand accounts, And the character piece was probably just as big, and what they would do to our locker room was just as big as whether they could help us on the field or not. So I think that was some maturity on my part too.
There were holes that we have not seen this season. Was that a
Running
symbol?
game?
Yeah.
Running game was? Well, haven't seen since Kansas. I think we had two games where we ran the ball pretty well. Those games back to back, NC State and Kansas. We're getting better up front. Now, by no means have we arrived, but we're getting better. We did a better job of maintaining blocks, a better job than we have. So I think that was a big piece of it. And our running backs ran the ball better too. Okay, they haven't been without fault during this kind of dry spell running the ball. I thought they finished extremely well. We didn't make anybody miss, but we finished with stiff arms and running over people, which is a credit to them.
Mays and Barrett, how much of a difference was that, what you're talking about there, and I don't know where the thing stands with Bryson and Chase?
Yeah, so we'll continue with how we started in that game. We started with Chase at center, and Mike's played left guard, and then Gamitter played right guard. And Bryson, he had struggled a little bit. In his defense, it's difficult to play in this league. Like our league, something that doesn't get talked about is we got a lot of odd fronts, but we got a lot of really good nose guards in our league right now. And he went through a stretch there where we played a bunch of really good several good nose guards in a row, and he had some struggles. And he's going to be a good player for us. He's just got to continue to work on his flexibility, his strength, and he'll play some. He'll be in the mix here, finishing up too. He practiced really well last week, but that's how we'll play going into the game on Saturday.
Did Chase let you do certain things or get you going in certain directions?
No, here's what Chase did. I thought Chase did a really good job of. We worked some inside run game there, and I thought he did a really good job with his angles. Thought he did a good job in his communication, especially on third down. Outside of one third down where we had a miscommunication, thought we were on people. We got beaten some one-on-ones. This is going to happen when you play against some really good people, especially the Herbert kid that Kansas State has. But I thought he did a nice job communicating.
Let's take a positive look and you win these next two games
Okay.
and qualify for a bowl. It would be, and you're playing Daggy the whole time. That would be his fifth game. But
Let's worry about that if that happens. How about that? Here's the thing, and I'm not really trying to be a smart aleck on it. I understand the question, and I'll kind of get with that. I haven't mentioned the word bowl in this building until just now, and it's not something I'm really talking about. My message since that debacle in the first half against Missouri is I just want to get better, and I know that's not necessarily what you guys want to hear, but that's been our singular focus is I just want to improve as we go. That's the best we played as a football team on Saturday, and so I just want to consistently get better. So we want to get better leading into the game. I want to make sure we put a much better product on the field on Saturday in front of our home fans than we did last time we were in the stadium. But we're really not focusing on end-of-season goals or anything like that.
Neal, it seems like we've been hearing Jeffrey Pooler's name for doing positive things a lot more the last couple of weeks. What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, he's played well. 2 weeks in a row. He played well in the second half. He played extremely well against Baylor. Played really well in the second half versus Texas Tech, and then he played 85 snaps. And I think I said this after the game. We can't do this all the time, but we basically played that 4 down front and basically only had 5 guys that played in the game. And he didn't play 85; he played 82. I'm sorry, but all 5 of those guys played a bunch of snaps. Reese and Bo Stills, Reuben, and Pooler, those guys played a lot of snaps. He's being active. If he would have he'd have been the defensive player of the week if he could have got a couple of those, Thompson down a couple more times because he was back there a bunch. And you look at his transformation as a player. When he got here, he was 290, 300 pounds, and he's really trimmed his body down. We use these before and after pictures all the time. His unbelievable. I need to see if Mike can do the same for me, probably. But he has. He's played a really, really well last few weeks.
Jared, how limited was Neal? How limited was Jarrett with the total package just because he hadn't played a lot? How much do you start to expand upon that over the next couple games?
We're pretty simple in our game plans just because of where we're at, and how many we've had some injuries, and we shuffled the O-line around a little bit, and then with all those receivers, we've been shuffling receivers around too, just as far as who's playing inside and who's playing outside. So we've been pretty simple as far as pass game really all year. He's comfortable. He's really intelligent. He's kind of a football junkie. Dad was a coach. He's a guy that can take a lot. So we really haven't limited it because of him. We weren't limited last week because of him, but just kind of some of the other factors around him.
Along those lines, Neal, it seemed like he checked a bunch of stuff or looked at you to the sideline, maybe more than Austin, maybe all season, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
We did more. That was more because of some of their defensive alignments than it was maybe the quarterback. But he does have he has a good knack for, just because he's been around the game, he understands it. You know, you think about it, going back to when his brother played, he's been around a college football locker room for a super, super long time. And so he does understand the game. We did check more things at the line of scrimmage. So injury-wise, yeah, I didn't go through, because we're starting to heal up a little bit. I probably should have. TJ, I think will play. I don't think he'll be. He won't probably be at the same point where he was before he got hurt against Baylor as far as how well he's playing. But I don't think he'll be 100%. But he's at a point where he can play. I don't think he'll play the same number of reps that he was playing, but I do think he'll be able to give us something in the game. Anybody else got questions about anybody else?
Evan Staley.
Staley, he's gonna try kicking today, so we'll know more about him as it goes. It's a muscle injury, so you got to be really careful with that. But he is going to kick today. Anybody else?
Anything you saw from Jarrett on a play or two that I know you hold these guys to the same standard. Anything, any throws that need to be improved on?
Yeah. So a couple things with him. I mean, I thought he played well for a first. I think he's got to play better. I think when you get a chance to talk to him, he'll say the same thing. He missed a couple of progressions on third down in the second half, where if he makes them, we extend drives. We had 2 missed assignments on the last possession where we had the ball with a chance to run out the clock. That he's not necessarily his missed assignments, but he should have fixed them, and he didn't do that. His screen mechanics.
Fix them pre-snap?
Yeah, people are just lined up wrong. He should have fixed it. Not necessarily his fault, but as the person out there in charge, he should have fixed it. And then his screen mechanics got to be better. You know, so we left some plays out there. He left some plays out there. But I thought he did. That's a tough place to play. You were there. It's loud. They do a good job of keeping that noise in there. But I thought overall for a first game, especially on the road, I thought he handled himself well.
Yeah, with the checks, is that stuff that he can have latitude to do, or is that definitely looking over you and seeing what happens?
Little both. He has. We don't necessarily give him the whole playbook or whatever to check, but he does have some latitude.